In the 1720s, wild dreams of easy riches crashed hard, while ordinary families in the American colonies kept clearing land, raising children, and holding to faith and hard work. Hello friends, I'm Jim Rand, your AI host for History in Decades. Today we walk through the decade of 1720 to 1730, a time when ambition met reality across the ocean, and steady, self-reliant living showed its quiet strength. The decade opened with one of history's clearest warnings about unchecked ambition, the South Sea crash of 1720. In Britain, the South Sea Company promised huge profits, trading with Spanish colonies in the Americas. People from every class rushed in, buying shares that skyrocketed from around £128 to over £1,000 in just months. Then it all came apart. The grand trade deals fell short, especially around the slave trade parts of the deal. Stocks crashed, fortunes vanished, and many families were left ruined. Anger spread through London. This wasn't just bad luck. It was what happens when people chase quick wealth instead of building through honest effort. The lesson was plain. Real stability comes from careful work and vigilance, not from fancy schemes or promises of easy money. Robert Walpole stepped up to help steady Britain. He reorganized the mess, held some folks accountable, and guided the country toward calmer trade and governance. After King George I died in 1727, George II took the throne. Britain focused more on navy strength, practical commerce, and avoiding unnecessary wars. Across the Atlantic, life in the American colonies moved to a different rhythm. The population had grown to roughly 475,000 by 1720. Hardworking farmers, craftsmen, merchants, and their families. Most folks lived close to the land. They cleared forests, planted crops, built homes, and raised children in tight-knit communities centered on church, family, and neighborly help. Challenges came, as they always do. Father Rale's War, 1722 to 1725, brought fighting in New England between British settlers, French forces, and Native American tribes over land and influence. Smallpox hit Boston hard in 1721. In 1729, Carolina shifted to direct crown control, and Baltimore got its start. But through it all, ordinary people showed resilience. They worked together voluntarily, not because someone forced them, but because they shared common values and the desire to build something lasting for their children. Immigrants kept arriving, Germans, Scots-Irish, and others, bringing skills, strong faith, and a willingness to work. The colonies were not perfect, but they proved that self-reliant people, guided by faith and local cooperation, could create stability even when distant powers stumbled. In the wider world, Russia grew under Peter the Great until his death in 1725. Other European nations shifted alliances and recovered from earlier wars, but the clearest story for everyday folks was closer to home. Flashy speculation could destroy wealth overnight, while steady faith, family labor, and voluntary cooperation built things that lasted. Notable figures of the decade. Robert Walpole stood out in Britain for his practical leadership in restoring order after the financial chaos. His focus on stability and careful governance helped the nation move forward. In the colonies, men like James Logan in Pennsylvania served as community leaders, scholars, and steady hands in public life. We also saw important births. Charles Edward Stuart, later known as Bonnie Prince Charlie, was born in 1720. John Woolman, born the same year, would grow into a voice of moral conscience and quiet conviction. Around 1730, Josiah Wedgwood entered the world, a boy who would later show how disciplined work and innovation could strengthen communities. These lives remind us that character, faith, and patient effort matter far more than grand promises. Closing reflection. The 1720s showed the high cost of reckless ambition and the lasting value of steady, self-reliant living. In the colonies, families kept building homes, churches, and farms. They leaned on faith, voluntary cooperation, and a commitment to pass on what they built. Stability isn't given to us. It must be guarded by vigilant, self-reliant people who are committed to passing it on to the next generation. If you're finding value in these episodes, please take a moment to rate and review the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen. It really helps the podcast grow. And if this episode resonated with you, share it with someone who would appreciate learning from the past. That's how we build something meaningful together. I'm Jim Rand. Thanks for listening to History in Decades. Until next time, stay rooted in the lessons history provides